Hey guys, ETJ Writes here. This is part 2 of my 2-part series about what I've been reading. So part 1, that will be linked in the description box down below. That is all about what I have been reading so far. Not a lot, but at least I've gotten some books in, enriched my knowledge in both storytelling and just general reading. What I've been reading this month has been some different things. Some of them I just finished and that's what I've just talked about, but I've got a couple things that are still on the docket here. I've just been listening to this one today. I really liked it so far. This is the Pheonix Project. It's written in first person present tense, which usually is not a combination I go in for. I can only really remember one story that I read that I really liked that, and that was Urban Heroes, which probably one of the best books I've ever read, to be honest. Urban Heroes is fantastic, and it's a robot story. It asks some of the questions from Asimov's Law of Robotics, as well as delving into kind of like the Detroit Become Human idea. Some of that kind of stuff with like robot sentience and things like that. So Urban Heroes, really good. I've got a review of it floating around on my website somewhere. You can find that and check that out yourselves. But this book, the Pheonix Project that I've been reading, like I said, it's in first person present tense, and that can be dangerous. It can be a trap if not done well, but I've been enjoying it so far. This character, it's fairly easy to understand the story without it reading kind of whiny and like I did this and I did that, and I'm sucked into the story, but I also feel the character's emotions. And I think, as I've been reading more books in first person, which again it's not my favorite, but I think that I do prefer first person present when it's done well to first person past tense. First person past tense, it feels like someone's telling me a story, but not in necessarily a attached way. It feels more detached than if they do it in first person present, because if it's first person present, I almost feel like I'm watching a movie. I'm in the scene with that person. But first person past tense, it's kind of like, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. And again, I'm sure there's really good writers who do a fantastic first person past, but I haven't experienced that yet so far that I can recall. The Pheonix Project is about this young girl who has lots of abilities. She's called a chimera, and she is trying to protect her family while fighting against these outside forces that would want to tear her family apart and use her and all their powers for their own nefarious gain. I'm closer, a third of the way through this book, and I really am enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. The next book that I have been reading is Dreamlander. Here we go. Dreamlander, I am still not sure how I feel about this book. I love the concept of books that take place within dreams, and the idea that the dream world is actually a real world, and you're kind of crossing back and forth between our world and the real world. I'm actually writing a novel that has some of those kinds of elements, although I'm attacking it from the sci-fi side versus the fantasy side, so stay tuned for how that is going to go. But even though I really like the mechanics of this world, something about it is not connecting with me, and I'm hoping that it'll connect by the end of the book. Sometimes books just take a while to get through. I'm at 40%. I try not to DNF books. I haven't so far. So we will see what happens when I get to the end of this novel, whether I really connect with these characters or not. There's a couple side characters that I'm finding myself being more drawn to and wishing we could learn more about them and their struggles. It's just the main character isn't really doing it for me. We'll see. I gotta be honest. I don't know where I would rate this book right now, but I'm really hoping I connect to it more before the end of the book. Then we have the Immortal Words, which this is the third book in the Grave Kingdom series, and I have some thoughts about where this is going to go. I'm excited about it. It's the first Jeff Wheeler series that has dragons in it, and I'm not quite sure what the dragons are supposed to look like because it's this set in kind of like a fantasy China, and you know, when you have Chinese dragons, they're like all really long and sinuous and with like little wings and stuff. I mean, they can have big wings, but they're not like our worms and, you know, St. George dragons, which have like huge massive wings compared to the size of their body, or like Skyrim dragons, right? So I'm not quite sure how to picture it because he always talks about, I mean, they have wings, and he talks about like the colors of the dragons and what the dragons can do, but I don't really remember if they're been described as more European dragons or more Chinese dragons. And I think it's supposed to be the Chinese dragons, but it hasn't been 100% confirmed yet. So that's kind of, it's funny because that's, usually I can imagine things really clearly, and it's kind of like a foggy image in my mind. I don't quite know what that's going to look like, so I hope that's more further described by the end. I'm enjoying this book series. I will say that I haven't connected to it as much as some of the other books. His other series, I really like the Mirrowen series. It's probably my favorite of everything he's done. And I really liked the second book of the Mirrowood series. And I really liked some of the, like the first and the fourth book in the, first and fifth book in the King Fountain series. So I kind of have favorites out of the books in the series, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But I love this world, and I love how everything is put together. So that's what I've been reading so far this month. I hope to get through a few things, and I'm a little bit behind on my Goodreads reading challenge, but I know that, like I said in my first video, I haven't been able to get in my car and listen to as many audiobooks as I normally would. Plus, I've been working on other projects, my own novel, helping other people with their novels, so it's kind of been eating up my time a little bit, and I'm excited to really, hopefully over the holidays, sit down and just listen to some books. Maybe I'll get into some more manga. That would be nice. Just kind of get back to things that I enjoyed when I was younger, before work took over, and we'll see what happens from there. But until next time, ETJ out.